are limited to the dissemination of general information. A professional advisor should be consulted before implementing any of the options presented. Encompass More Asset Management is registered as an investment advisor with the SEC and only transacts business in states where it is properly registered or is excluded or exempted from registration requirements. Registration with the SEC does not imply a certain level of skill or training. And the guys are here. It is time for our segment with the fellows from GCES, Clinton Smith and Galen Bargerstock in the studio with us here this morning. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good to have you both with us here today as we talk about financial goals. Let's focus in upon that here this morning. Goals, determining them. A lot of people, they're going to come to you. They're going to say, I don't know what my goals are. I don't know. I'm sure many people say, I don't know how long I'm going to live, and I don't know how much money I'm going to need.
Yeah.
How do we tackle that one?
I mean, this is honestly, you hit the nail right on the head. We constantly go to meet with people, or Galen meets with people, and they don't understand what even their financial goals should be or what they should be working towards. Like we said before, we've worked with a lot of postal employees in the past, and postal employees, you have to think every little town has a post office in it. That might only have 2 or 3, maybe 4 people working at it, but there's one of those in almost every little town. Mm-hmm. And none of them have someone, and a lot of them don't think that they need a financial advisor. So they all end up going to that person that's the oldest or the person there that knows the most, if that makes sense. And knows the most isn't really a good example of it, because they might know how things apply to their family and how they've done things for their family, but they don't know all of the things that are available out there to them. So one of the first things we tell people is don't take advice from the people that you work with.
Yeah.
Because you may all have the same benefits. You may get the same stuff from the place that you work for, but in the end, everything on the back end is different. How long you've been married, what your spouse has, stuff like that. So that's really the first thing that we've noticed is people take advice from their friends at work, and that's why we came up with this topic of how to really determine what your financial goals are.
All right, Galen, so help us to define it. What are the things, the factors that we have to take into account first when we're deciding what our goals are?
Well, I think that, one of the things is, you have to think about who you're financially responsible for. What is part of your family that if you retire, or if you're going to be retiring shortly, who are you going to still be responsible for in retirement? Mm-hmm. Are you still, supporting your children? Are the children grown but still might need support? Grandchildren, things like that to consider.
Yeah, people also will be heading toward retirement and saying, okay, it is 12 years off, or it's 15 years off. I want to be out of debt by the time I get there. Good goal to have? Great goal.
I mean, that's another thing that we, consider short-term goals versus long-term goals. And it could be as simple as a short-term goal is, I need a new refrigerator. Long-term goal is I need a camper for retirement, mm-hmm. and how am I going to save appropriately and live the life that I want to live for these next 12 years to accomplish that goal.
Yeah. And there are so many factors to consider. And when you think of it in those terms, mm-hmm. Wants and needs are two different things.
Completely different. Yeah.
That is one of our questions, though. What are you passionate about in life, and what are you spending your money on right now?
Yeah, we shouldn't feel guilty about having wants.
No. And a lot of people think, I shouldn't spend my money. We don't want you to not spend your money. Do you know what I mean? We want you to live comfortably off of the money that you have and spend it whenever you have the opportunity to do so, but not whenever you're putting your future at stake, mm-hmm. if that makes sense. Because sometimes people will want to, pay stuff off, and that's your own personal choice. You can do that, but sometimes the interest rates and stuff that you're paying on things, to lose all of the money in your investments to pay off a low interest rate that you'd be able to pay off inside of your investments and stuff over a long period of time, rather than getting rid of all that money up front, you're losing your ability to live off your mm-hmm. interest and stuff that you'll make in the following years. So there's a lot of things to take into consideration. People around here, and conservative people, a lot of times want to pay their house off and pay their cars off, but then they've used all of their investments to do that, and now they're not making 5, 6, 7, whatever percentage it is that they could have been making mm-hmm. while they still had those investments in there and just making the monthly payments through time. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of things to consider really whenever you sit down with it, and that's why Galen, whenever he sits down with someone, he's going to go over everything that they have, because sometimes people don't even know that they should have a financial goal because they just haven't gotten that deep into it.
Sure. Galen, a part of that financial goal also has to be, what am I going to do medically? And Medicare enters into that in a very big way. How do people plan how do you plan for something that is unexpected?
Well, it's kind of possible to plan for something that's unexpected, except for, try to save the money or educate yourself on what might happen. I mean, basically, the Medicare thing is a really hot topic right now with federal employees because the government is changing the way the health plans work. And when the government changes the way the health plans work, every company is going to probably follow suit and change. So, right now, it is going to be mandatory for federal employees to take Medicare Part B once they're retired, and they didn't have to. So now the concerns are going to be not just for federal employees, but for everybody in life. Well, how does Medicare work? And, once you reach, I'd say, age 64, you're going to get more mail than you've ever seen because all of these companies are going to start mailing you saying, hey, pick me, pick me.
I can vouch for that.
And it happens, but, you have to, find somebody to talk to go and talk about a Medicare plan. And when it comes to Medicare, zip codes are specific on where you need to go. And to me, the biggest factor is, are you going to be traveling? If you're traveling, then, of course, certain Medicare Advantage plans would come into play because they're larger and more national network versus maybe a plan that's local and you don't plan on traveling and going outside of the network. So, and then you have supplement plans, and then you hear about AARP. It gets very confusing on what goes on, but a solid medical plan is going to help you keep your investments in your pocket.
Yeah. All right. Let's focus in again then, therefore, upon goals. Because if your goal is to put that to bed and say, okay, I've got the Medicare equation all figured out the way that I want it to be. Now are we then saying, what's left and how can I plan for the best use of that?
Yeah. Medicare, a lot of times, Medicare is always people, some of them may have already retired. So working Medicare into a plan is relatively pretty easy for us. We don't typically sell Medicare ourselves, but a lot of the people that do sell Medicare don't do what we do, if that makes sense. So a lot of people that do Medicare aren't exactly financial advisors. They concentrate on just Medicare. So they're only out there selling Medicare. And that's why we don't really do it, because we want to do the best at what we do. We don't want to do it all willy-nilly. So Medicare, we try to outsource that, but we're there to answer questions. Medicare is actually, I know you're going through it right now. To us, it's relatively pretty easy stuff because you only have so many options and all the options only include so many things. So Medicare is a super simple part of an overall bigger plan, ultimately. With people, whenever they're going into retirement, one thing that is important to look at is you versus your spouse and seeing what health care they have and what kind of plan they have and what kind of plan you could get through your employer in retirement, or if you're able to carry it into retirement, and then figure out the best combination of those two. Because your spouse might be working for a few more years and get 50% paid of health insurance, and it makes more sense to then, when you retire, to go off of your younger spouse's health plan, just because it's more cost effective. So looking at it as a whole picture with the family is really a better way to take into consideration Medicare.
Yeah. And the age at which you wish to retire is a big part of setting those goals as well. Some people might want to work, Galen, until they're 75 years old. Yeah. Some people might want to work some people might say to themselves, I'm going until the end. I'm going to die at my desk.
Yeah. I just met with a guy about 4 days ago, and we were talking. He was 70 years old. He had his retirement paperwork for me to fill out, and during our review, I was like, you know what, are you really ready to retire? And he kind of opened up to him, and he's like, no, I don't want to go. And I'm like, well, then don't go. You know that nothing's making you retire right now just because you're 70 and everybody says you should get out. So the looks from all your coworkers and want your parking spot.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
What his job. But he's like, yeah, you're right. I'm going to stay for another year, and then we're going to take it from there, maybe another year after that, because you have to make yourself happy. And he just did not know what he wanted to do after retirement. And that's the thing. You're 70. You're taking Social Security. It's maxed out. So now you're making full Social Security, full salary. You still have great health insurance, all of that. So he's just going to wing it for a while.
Yeah. All right. And that's all part of what you're talking about this morning, which is setting your financial goals for your retirement years, should they ever come.
Yeah. Yeah.
For people who do choose to keep working and they, they're never going to retire, and they realize that, and they say that, and so that's the case. They still need to put those plans in place for as they age and taking best advantage for their family.
Are you asking this as a personal question?
No, I
No, I mean, you have to, because, it's the factor of life that you are going to pass away. I mean, I don't ever tap dance around the subject. So you want to make sure that you have everything lined up in your household, that when that does happen, you're doing exactly what you want to do with what you've earned your entire lifetime.
Yeah, I tell my church congregation the death rate is 1 per person, and it's absolutely true.
Yeah.
So that being the case, plans need to be put in place, which means that you need to talk to GCES and find out, where am I and where do I want to go? That's basically what it is, isn't it?
Yeah. A lot of people, I think, also think that they have to wait until they're ready to retire to start planning stuff, and really, IRS law is 59 and a half. Once you turn 59 and a half, you're able to take control of your all of your savings and investments, move them into something else, and actually start planning and getting stuff lined up for retirement. You can do stuff before you actually retire. You don't have to wait until the very end to try to get it all done at once. So even if you're 10, 15 years away from retirement, it doesn't hurt to meet with us and get our opinion and see where you'd actually be in 10 to 15 years too.
Yeah, in fact, you should not wait.
Yeah, you should not wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even when you're 30 years old, 35.
30 years old, couple years into your career, you should still have a benefit review just to know what you have going on. And that's kind of like where we come in with, we know the federal pension, the state pension. I have 70 or 700 pensions available to me in software to look up and review. So it's amazing what technology has brought that we're able to do to understand. So if you don't know what questions to ask, I know what questions to have you ask somebody else to figure out the plan.
Yeah, there you go. Figure out those goals and let these guys help you do it with GCES.
Yeah.
All right, so Clinton, what do folks need to do?
Enjoy Turkeython this week. That's coming up on Friday. I don't know if I plugged that yet. The United Way's Turkeython is coming up very soon. I think we'll be collecting at the 700 shop Wednesday through Saturday this week and be here on Friday this week for Turkeython from 7 to 10. And if you want to plan retirement, give us a call at GCES 724-915-0000.
If you want more of that pitch, he's going to be here tomorrow for the United Way.
Yeah. I'm going to be here a lot this week.
Yeah. All right. But in the meantime, get in touch with GCES. Get yourself all set up. Make an appointment. Come in, visit, and get started on what can be actually, Galen, a pretty exciting time in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, you have to think of it as not a chore or a task, but you're just trying to understand what you've accomplished in your life, and think of it like that, and it's not as bad.
Yeah. It's a kickoff, and the game is underway.
Yeah. You're supposed to go to your dentist like twice a year. You know what I mean? Like you can meet with a financial advisor once every 5 to 10. Yeah.
Way to shame them into it there.
Right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, WCCSradio.com. 8:25 in the morning. Yes, Clinton will be with us tomorrow talking specifically about United Way Turkeython. Jake is in the newsroom. He's coming up a couple of moments away from now. It's Indiana in the Morning on WCCS. Here's Boomer Sports.
This is Boomer Esiason with Sports Minute. It was another lost football Sunday for New York as the Giants with Daniel Jones got hammered by Philly's Saquon Barkley. Pennsylvania's other team, Pittsburgh, spanked the same old Jets. My beloved Mets magic ended in Los Angeles as the Dodgers slaughtered the Mets pitching. However, the Liberty did capture their first ever WNBA championship. I'm Boomer Esiason.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this. If something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food. No matter what you're craving, from 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week, all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and more for a child in poverty. And there are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year and their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393.
GCES.
Hi, it's Galen here from GCES. Since 2010, we've been empowering families to secure a better future. We can also help businesses invest with